Hello everyone and welcome to a new IK video. This is Ken from 49, and in this video guys we're gonna talk about my main march, which is the hybrid earth march that I'm currently using with a couple of trust skills that I'm using. This is why this march is kind of expensive compared to the march that I talked about in my previous video. So in my previous video I talked about the cheap popular hybrid earth march and what skills to use on it. In this march we're gonna talk about the advanced skills that I'm using on this march and why am I using these skills. Alright, starting with the artifacts, I have all the exclusive artifacts except for Zenobia that is not high level, is only level 0. I don't have a developable artifact yet. I'm waiting for it in order to upgrade it and invest a bit on my artifact on them. Right, for the build, as for Alex is not my main damager in this march. It is Hani that is dealing most of the damage. Alex's job is to deal with other Alexes in other marches. This is why I'm using Toxin Barrier on him to reduce the other Alex's damage. And also, since he works as the tank in my march, similar to my to the cheap Earth march, I'm using Dome Master on him since it applies immunity to wounds. So Zeno is always able to heal Alex at all times. And also I'm using Compo since Alex is mainly focused on a one target damage, and Compo helps him a lot, and I'm gonna show you how in my reports. As for Hani has a lot of cleave damages, starting by the cleave skill that I'm using on him, and the Howling Blast that I'm using on him. The Howling Blast, which is the ultimate skill, I mean, and the buff that he gets from Emperor Ken, which is the cleave that deal 50% extra damage to a nearby target and lasts 8 seconds. And by using by using Ken's Chariot, which is the exclusive artifact, the Dragon Power can now split damage to 2 nearby targets, not only one. That means that Ken's Chariot provides 100% value of the ultimate skill for Ken Emperor. This is why it's so important to have in a mixed march. And also I'm gonna show you the Dragon Power damage that's been applied by Ken Emperor. Alright, so this is why I'm using Cleave on my Hani. I'm using Fighting Master. I explained this in my previous video to provide immune to control, and I'm using Wind Rage to trigger more normal attacks. The more normal attacks that it can trigger, the more Cleave can trigger, the more Howling Blast you can get, the more Dragon Power you can get from Ken Emperor. So this is about Hani. As for my Ken Emperor, I'm using Oaken Guard, one of the best defensive skills in the game currently versus physical damage, especially an immortal such as Alex and Hani. And it still remains an S tier skill after all this time. I'm using Purification mainly to counter certain amount of skills, such as the skill that came out recently, such as Weakening Curse, and I'm using Berserk. This is the most important aura that you can use for a hybrid march, definitely an S tier skill, I mean, in this situation. As for Zenobia, I'm using Spring of Life. This is one of these skills that came out recently. Spring of Life is definitely an S tier skill or an S tier aura that you can use on a march that has a lot of heals in it. And I'm using Vitality Touch. Vitality Touch is also an S tier skill, one of the most broken healing skills in the game, because it doesn't have a chance. It doesn't have like a 50 or a 60% chance to apply every 6 seconds. No, it applies every 6 seconds with a 100% chance right after the battle starts. It heals up to 400% at max level, and after it heals him, it increases the physical defense and the magical defense by 10% for 18 seconds. Can you imagine? This is why Vitality Touch is one of my favorite skills on the game to use on a hybrid march. And of course, I'm using Wine Undyne. Wine Undyne is so broken according to what is written here. I have no way. I mean, I did try how does the skill work, but we don't have a major tool to know how does exactly the damage work, how long does it last. But I still like the skill, and ever since I started using it, I noticed a bit of difference when it comes to the damage increase. It increases the damage by the immortals that's being healed by 30%. Also, it works only on healers. For example, whenever Zenobia heals an immortal, is gonna increase his damage by 30%. If I used Wine Undying, for example, instead of Purification in my Kin Emperor, nobody will get healed by Kin Emperor. That means that the skill will be completely useless. You have to use the skill on a healer such as Zenobia. Adding a healing skill such as Vitality Touch, Grace, or Support, or even Purification is gonna trigger the skill. Having an aura that heals such as Berserk or Shelter doesn't help the skill at all, and this has been confirmed in my previous video. I'll leave the link to the previous video if I found it down below in the description. You can also check it out. So this is the build that I'm using currently in my hybrid Earth March, with a very slight change. In case I'm fighting a March that doesn't have Alex or Hani, I might remove Oaken Guard and replace it for Energy Suppression. This is the only change that I would go for versus a Holy March or a Shadow March or even a Fire March if I'm planning to use my Mixed versus a Fire March, which is definitely a bad idea. I wouldn't use it. However, let's take a look at the reports that we have here. So this is a very strong Holy March that has 2 Chaos Immortals, and you can see here, this was in IB, and you can see the damages coming from Hannibal Barca a bit higher than Alex. You can see Cleave 83 attempts, Howling Blast 58, Dragon Power 101 attempt, and you can see all the Cleave damages is kind of similar to each other, all between 7 million and 7.5 million. Normal attacks, not that much. This is why I always say that Hannibal Barca is not a single target immortal. He's kinda an area effect damage dealer. This is why you need to use Cleave effect and enhance the amount of cleaves that been coming out from him. Alright, this is an offensive attack. This is where I'm attacking and the other party is using the garrison. I believe there was a defense. No, this is my Fire March. There it is. This is a defense, which means that this is a better situation that I would like to be in. Defense is always better at all times, since you have an advantage of the iron body, and you have advantage of the certain buffs that can be applied to your March. And you can see that the damage coming from Hani is also more than Alex, even though Toxin Barrier got procced a lot of times here. I mean, 7.2 million damage from Toxin Barrier is kind of unexpected, since there's no Alex or Hani on the other side. So this is why my Mixed March is kind of working so well versus Shadow and Holy. And also the reason that I'm using Purification, I'm going to show you in a second. Expired? No. There it is. You can see here in this March here, he's using Weakening Curse. And we already confirmed that Weakening Curse works on Alex and Hani for 45 seconds, and it reduces their damage by 70%. And I'm going to show you how in a second. And at the same time, we're going to try the new option, which is the bows. All right, so you can see here the red dot on Alex, the guy that has an arrow pointing down. This means that this is the disarm, and you can see it in all the immortals in the fight. And this debuff lasts for 45 seconds. But in this case, you will see that the debuff will be removed from Alex thanks to the purification that I'm using on Kin Emperor. Also, you will notice that the debuff has been removed from Kin Emperor here. This is also thanks to purification, and at the time it is 1.27 seconds, and purification works every 3 seconds of the fight. Also, once Zenobia will use her ultimate skill, the debuff will be removed. Let me see. Should we... I think we should quicken this. The debuff has been removed from Zenobia right now, but it's still on Alex, still on Hani. All right, the debuff is still there. All right, there we go. You can see now the debuff has been removed in the first 21 seconds in the fight. Not sure if it has been removed on Hani. We really need to get rid of this button, but I think it has been removed. Yeah, it has been removed now from both Alex and Hani. this is mainly why I invested in purification, and I got purification from my hybrid march, just to counter one skill that could have made my life a living hell using the hybrid march. Right, so you can see, you already saw that the debuff or the disarm has been removed at the first 21 seconds of the battle. Also, we need to reply to watch this report again in order to show you guys the amount of cleaves that is coming from Hannibal Barca. So in this one here, I want you to notice the back line and how quick they are dying, and the amount of damage that they're receiving even without being touched. All the damage that they're receiving right now is the cleave effect coming from Hannibal Barca. You see all the numbers that will appear above Zenobia right now. All right, once the debuff has, the debuff has been removed, the damages should be coming any moment right now. Right, see all the numbers that is coming above Zenobia. This is all from the cleave effects on Hannibal Barca. Either cleave, dragon power, right, see, they are dying without being touched right now. Or Howling Blast, which is his ultimate skill. I'm really curious to see how much damage did Genghis Khan receive from Hannibal Barca, since Genghis is a lightning immortal and he's kind of weak to the wind immortals. Right, 9 million damages from Hannibal Barca. Main damage was Dragon Power, 3.7 million. Cleave, almost 3 million. Howling Blast, 2.3 million. 11 million, over 11 million from Hannibal Barca. 4.7 from Cleave, 3.6 from Dragon Power. This is mainly because I'm also using Wind Rage on Hani, which means that more cleaves is gonna be applied. This is everything that I wanted to talk about in this video, guys. Hopefully I did not forget anything. If you have a question, write it down below in the comments. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and have a wonderful day.